"It is her," said Ekene, a local fisherman whose once booming voice was now barely a whisper. "She has taken our manhood. We must confront her and demand she return what she has stolen." In the bustling town of Olu, nestled in the fertile lands of Africa, life thrived with the vibrant energy of trade, laughter, and the daily routines of its people. Olu was known for its marketplaces, where merchants from far and wide gathered to trade spices, fabrics, and precious gems. It was a place where traditions were held dear and the community flourished under the leadership of Chief Okorie. Yet, beneath the surface of its bustling town lay a secret, one that would soon unravel the lives of its inhabitants and shake the very foundations of their beliefs. In a modest house at the edge of Olu lived a woman named Nneka. She was not of noble birth, nor did she possess great wealth or beauty. But Nneka had a presence that commanded attention, a confidence that made her stand out from among the crowd. She was a trader by profession, famous for her skill in bargaining and her incredible ability to get what she wanted. However, there was something about Nneka that was both fascinating and terrifying. Rumors swirled about her in hushed tones. Some said she had a secret that gave her power over men, a power that could strip men of their pride and strength. Others whispered of strange occurrences of men who had crossed her path only to find themselves diminished, their manhood taken from them in ways that defied explanation. These whispers grew louder when a series of events began to unfold in Olu. Men who had once been strong and confident suddenly became weak and fearful. Husbands who had ruled their homes with an iron fist were now cowering in the shadows, their wives and children taking over the roles they once held. It was as if a strange curse had befallen them, stripping them of their masculinity and leaving them shells of their former selves. The town was in confusion, and fingers began to point towards Nneka. Her house, once a place of lively trade, now stood as a silent sentinel, its doors closed to the world. The townspeople avoided her, fear and suspicion clouding their minds. As the sun set and the marketplace started to clear out one evening, Chief Okorie called a meeting. The men of Olu gathered in the town square, their faces etched with worry and desperation. "We cannot ignore these strange events any longer," the chief began, his voice heavy with concern. "Our men are losing their strength, their pride, their very essence. We must find the cause and put an end to this curse that plagues our town." A murmur of agreement rippled through the crowd. Many eyes turned towards Nneka's house, a silent accusation hanging in the air. "It is her," said Ekene, a local fisherman whose once booming voice was now barely a whisper. "She has taken our manhood, our strength. We must confront her and demand she return what she has stolen." Fueled by fear and anger, the men marched towards Nneka's house, their footsteps echoing in the twilight. They banged on her door, demanding answers, their voices a chorus of desperation and fury. Nneka opened the door slowly, her expression calm and unflinching. She looked at the crowd of men, her eyes meeting theirs with a steady gaze. "What do you want from me?" she asked, her voice steady and clear. "You know what we want," shouted Ekene. "You have taken our manhood, our strength. We demand you return it at once." Nneka raised an eyebrow, a faint smile playing on her lips. And what makes you think I have taken anything from you? Do not play games with us, shouted another man. We know you have a secret, a power that has stripped us of our manhood. Tell us how to break this curse or face the consequences. Nneka sighed and stepped back, inviting them inside with a gesture. Very well, come in, but I warn you, the truth may not be what you expect. The men entered her home, their eyes scanning the room for signs of the dark magic they believed she wielded. But there was nothing unusual, just the simple furnishings of a trader's home. Nneka sat down at a small wooden table and gestured for the men to do the same. Let us talk, she said. I will tell you my story, and perhaps you will find the answers you seek. Nneka's story began years ago in a distant village from Olu. She had been a young girl, full of lives and dreams, living with her parents and siblings. Life had been hard but happy, filled with the simple joys of family and community. One day, a group of men from a neighboring village came to their home, demanding tribute. They were rough and cruel, taking what they wanted with no regard for the lives they destroyed. Among them was a man named Chike, a leader of sorts, who had set his sights on Nneka. Chike had been a man of great strength and arrogance. He believed that power gave him the right to take whatever he desired. He had taken Nneka by force, shattering her innocence and leaving her broken and humiliated. Her family had been powerless to stop him, and the village had been left in ruins. In the aftermath, Nneka had fled, leaving behind the only home she had ever known. She wandered for days, her heart heavy with pain and anger, until she came across an old woman in a distant town. This woman, sensing the depth of Nneka's suffering, took her in and cared for her. The old woman had been a healer and a wise woman, well known for her knowledge of herbs and potions. She had seen many young women like Nneka, victims of men's cruelty and arrogance, and so she taught Nneka the ways of healing and the secrets of ancient potions, giving her the tools to find strength and reclaim her life. Among the old woman's secrets was a potion, one that could strip a man of his strength and his pride, taking from him the very essence of his manhood. It was a potion of great power, one that Nneka had learned to make, but had never intended to use, until she came to Olu and saw the same arrogance and cruelty that had destroyed her own home. I did not come to Olu to harm anyone, Nneka said, her voice filled with a quiet sadness. But I saw the same arrogance, the same disregard for others in the men of this town, and I cannot stand by and watch as more lives were destroyed. The men listened in stunned silence, the weight of her words sinking in. They had never considered the pain and suffering their actions might cause, nor had they thought about the consequences of their arrogance. I have not stolen your manhood, Nneka continued. I have only shown you the emptiness of your pride, the weakness of your arrogance. Your strength is not in your power over others, but in your ability to be compassionate and just. Sifokorie, who had remained silent throughout Nneka's story, spoke up. What can we do to make things right? He asked, his voice heavy with regret. Nneka looked at him, her eyes filled with a mix of hope and sadness. Change the way you live, she said. Treat others with respect and kindness, and perhaps, in time, you will find the strength you have lost. The men left Nneka's home in silence, their minds heavy with the weight of their actions. They returned to their lives, determined to change, to become the men they were meant to be. Slowly, the town of Olu started to heal, its people learning to live with compassion and respect for one another. Nneka continued to live on the edge of the town, her presence a reminder of the lessons learned and the strength found in humility and kindness. She became a respected figure, a healer and a guide, helping others to find the strength within themselves. To enjoy more stories like this, kindly subscribe to our channel.